everyone, and welcome to Grip Lock, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Connor. Joined a little virtually today, but we got a good episode today. We're going over Ledgestone, talk through our power ranking update, Trevor's trivia, Champions Cup, a little update there. Nico's suspension was finally announced, which caused some beef on Twitter, and then the Fierce documentary. It's going to be a good episode, but first, a word from our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. It's back to school time, and we want to make sure that you pack the essentials to have the best year yet. The Manscaped 4th Generation Performance Package is just that. Be ready for whatever is in your daily schedule this year. It's the perfect package for your package and includes the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Fellas, go for the valedictorian of ball trimming and join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com and using the code GRIPLOCK to get 20% off and free shipping. School is back, and the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped is here to teach the boys a lesson on male hygiene. Inside, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, weed whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, crop preserver, ball deodorant, crop reviver, ball toner, plus 2 free gifts, the Performance Boxer Briefs and the Shed travel bag. This package includes everything you could ever want and more. The Lawnmower 4.0 will give you the confidence to do anything you desire. This 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edged ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. I said that one weird. Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 7,000 RPM motor and a new multifunction on-off switch that can engage a travel lock and gives you the ability to turn on the 4,000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. And on top of all of that, it's waterproof too. So you're not going to miss out on all this. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code GRIPLOCKED at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code GRIPLOCKED over at manscaped.com. This year, graduate with a degree in clean balls from Manscaped.
There you go.
Dang.
Connor, you going for the degree?
Nah, dude, I dropped out.
Okay.
I would not. Okay. Ledgestone. Let's get into Ledgestone here. Let's just go straight through the results. On FPO side, it was a Missy Gannon and Paige Pierce show until it wasn't. Turned into just a Missy Gannon show. She took it down. Owen Scoggins came in second. Lisa Fakis, Paige Pierce, and Kristin Tattar came in third, which thank goodness they got in that tie for third.
Oh, that's true.
Because that really helped out the points.
I didn't even think about that, yeah.
I was rooting hard for that. On the MPO side, we had Ricky Wysocki taking it down for the 3rd year in a row, if you include the Calvin
It does not count. Last year does
winning.
not count. No way.
I'm counting it. 3rd year in a row. Did he lose last year, Trevor?
What?
Did he lose? Did he lose last year?
But did he win? Did he win, Hunter?
Did he lose?
Did he win?
Did he lose?
Did you refer to
He
him
didn't
as?
either.
Did you refer to him as the Ledgestone winner or the Ledgestone not loser?
I referred to him as a 3-time.
He is a 3-time
champion.
not loser. I'll give you that. 3-time in a row not loser.
3-time in a row not loser.
That's funny.
Also known as a possible winner, Ricky Wysocki. A 2-time winner, 1-time not loser, Ricky Wysocki. Paul Macbeth came in second. Gannon Burr in third. We got to talk FPO though first. I mean, I was super impressed by Missy Gannon.
Well, yeah, it's Missy Gannon's time of the year. You know, this is just when she decides to like start playing well.
So
and
they
then,
were saying on coverage,
and then she's gonna win Player of the Year.
Yeah, that's a whole different story. But she's had a solid season.
Yeah.
But with how she was finishing at the end of last season, it's nowhere near what I expected it to be, at least.
Yeah.
Those wins a good way though to like kick her season from like decent to a good season, and then if she happened to have like another win, that would make it from like a good season to a great season, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's good timing right before, we get to Worlds. So that's the best time to get hot. I mean, the end of the season is the best time to really turn it on. Like stuff that happens at the beginning of the season, the Texas swing, all that gets forgotten so quickly. So this is the time of the year. This is winning time. This is when there's still 2 more majors at grabs, and both of them are the biggest 2 majors. And then
there's only one for the women, right?
Oh, that's true. Well, there's Throw Pink. So sorry, it's a major in our hearts. And then you have
in our hearts. We gotta make
that would be
for that.
Yeah, that would be no, we'd get sued by Innova, I'm sure. Maybe not. They'd like it.
We don't use their logo. We just say it's a major in our hearts.
Yeah, let's do it. If this podcast gets 1,000 likes, but and then
make them just pink and white shirts for Throw Pink, and then just say it's a major in our hearts.
That would be sick.
That's actually great.
It's a good shirt. Intellectual property
and
claimed.
Then we wear it to the USDGC.
We're claiming intellectual property right now. That would be hilarious.
That is very funny.
No, but then like you have the Tour Championship at the end of the year. There's playoffs this year, so like this is the time. I mean, Missy Gannon. Yeah, like we expected her to be a real contender this year. I think that we thought she was going to throw herself in the mix, and then she never really did. She's had an okay season, but hasn't really been like a threat. Certainly not somebody that we're like, ooh, let's put her in our top 3 for this week. That's just not really been the case. This event is very unique because of Northwoods. both for MPO and FPO. Northwoods is just like this crazy separator course. And so I think that Ledgestone can produce somewhat unique results. However, we still saw the better players rise to the top in both divisions. So I'm going to say this is a very legit win for, well, it's certainly a legit win, but I think it's a very impressive win for Missy. And if you can win at Ledgestone on the tough courses like that, that resilience you're able to show should translate, and it should be really good momentum going forward. So I think Missy is somebody to be paying attention to, certainly. But you know how FPO is. 1 week it's this, 1 week it's that. So we'll see.
Yeah, especially this year. I think they were saying on coverage this was like the 7th FPO winner this year or something like that.
The parity's been
7th
crazy.
unique one.
Yeah.
But I mean, speaking of how much this win counted, Kristin Tattar was back in the field, so you can't even use that as like a side note of like, well, yeah, but Kristin wasn't there. Kristin was there.
So what do you think? What do you think about Kristin? Is she hurt or is she injured?
I mean,
hurt or injured?
Here's what I'll say. During round 2 or 3, it's definitely. I think I'm gonna go with injured.
I'm gonna agree with you there. I'm gonna agree with you there
because there was a time, and I don't remember if it was round 2 or 3, where she was doing stuff that I was like, that just isn't Kristin.
Right.
Like her releases were way off and stuff. It's a nerve thing, isn't it, in her elbow?
Yeah, I think she was treating it fragile. Like she looked like when Simon first tried to come back from injury, and it looked like she was just like nervous about it.
Yeah. But with that said, there's a round, again, I can't remember if it was round 2 or 3. It's one of them at Sunset that I thought Kristin had ran away with it. I thought it was over.
Yeah.
But then that's when she started making those weird, uncharacteristic mistakes, which that's what I'm wondering. Is it from her injury? Because, I mean, she did say that she's going to play like her doctor cleared her to play the big events the rest of the year. And then this off season, she's going to hit recovery hard, which it seems like that's a pretty common like disc golf thing of you have an injury that you can like, you're not going to make it worse by playing. Or at least you're told that. And so you just keep playing. And then in the off season, you have to like recover and rehab.
So she posted on Instagram after Ledgestone and didn't say anything about her injury. So
that's how you know it's real.
That's how you know that Kristin's a competitor, because she had a free excuse and she didn't take it. All she had to say was
hurt.
Yeah, no, she's injured.
Yeah, if she was hurt, she's saying, it flared up, my elbow, all this stuff. When you're injured, you don't need to tell people you're injured. People know you're injured. That's what I think. I think it's an injury. I don't think she's hurt. I think it's an injury. And I think that this off season will be big for her because she needs. I mean, it also should be somewhat encouraging to her that even with this injury and however it held her back, she was still at multiple times in position to win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's still plenty capable of winning, and especially, you get to some more delicate courses too. Some that play to her strengths a little bit more. Throw pink certainly comes to mind. She'll have every chance.
Did she play throw pink last year? Surely.
I want to say she didn't. I thought she left before.
Oh, maybe was that was this part of the like travel thing last year?
I could have sworn.
I have it pulled up in front of me.
I could have sworn she left.
I don't think she did. You're right. She wasn't there.
Yeah. So that's
last year. Paige Pierce absolutely like crapped the bed at throw pink last year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Came in 10th.
Quite a few people got themselves in the mix.
Kona was second. It was Missy, Kona, and then Val and Sarah Hokum and Haley King tied third.
Kona. Haven't heard that name in a little bit.
That was a mix. Did y'all see Kona's latest post?
No.
Oh, I feel like I did, but I don't remember
she opened up about that she's going to a sports therapist.
Good for her. Good for her.
I forget exactly what she said, but I just saw that and I was like,
for like what?
There's
her mental game, probably.
Okay.
For a mental game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'll find it again.
That's a smart move.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear more about that.
No, I think it's a very smart move because I think, she said, I've been looking into a sports therapist and I'm excited for this. Someone who does this day in and day out. I feel like I have had all the shots. I just feel like there's been a brick wall in my way I can't seem to break through. I've tried a lot of things this year to break down some barriers. I don't think I can do it alone. You all know I struggle with anxiety and other demons, but I want to compete like I know I can. I need some extra guidance. I think there's a weird stigma around mental illness, asking for help, or simply being able to talk about something someone is going through. I know disc golf is my life, and I want to be better. Never hesitate to ask for help if you need it.
Well, here's the thing. Cool. I mean, golf in general is such a it's such a big mental sport. I mean, professional golfers at the highest levels in golf, not disc golf even, are like they use sports therapists. They use so many like mental, like literally I remember even playing high school golf, like the better high school golfers, they would go out to practice around and they weren't even, you would ask them, say, what are you working on today? And you'd expect them to say, I'm working on doing this with my driver or this with chipping. And they'd be like, no, I'm practicing this mental game technique today. Like that's a thing that some players probably don't give nearly enough attention to. So props to her, that was a smart move.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just been building all year. But it's a very smart move because I mean, she was in such a tough position where you sign a contract like that and where her play, let's just be honest, her play was not at the level for that contract. No. And so she had all these false expectations that she was probably putting on herself more than anything, but also that the outside world was putting on her. Yeah. And that pressure can get to anyone. So good to see that she's taking that step. And hopefully, because I mean, when she's at her best, she is one of the better FPO players.
Yeah, she can
It's
win.
just being at your best and being consistently that good are two completely different things. Because that's like we see players like Isaac Robinson or Alden Harris, or there's certain players that like at their best, they can win. But then being at like Chandler Kramer, being at your best and being consistently at that level are two completely different things. And the contract she signed was basically asking her to consistently be at her best. And I think that that's just way too much pressure for someone to be under. Hopefully, as the year rolls on, we start seeing Kona, start getting back up the leaderboard a little bit. But another player that this weekend somewhat disappointed me, to be honest, was Paige Pierce, because she went into the final round with, I wrote a real shot at taking it down. She was tied. Yeah. Legitimate real shot.
Yeah.
And just never got the ball rolling.
It
just like, it literally came down to you had going into the final round. It was like Missy or Paige is going to win. And, with this year, I was thinking, okay, Paige has this easy. She almost fell outside the top 3. She lost to Missy by 7 strokes the final round.
You know what it seems to me is that, the FPO field and the MPO field has this effect sometimes, not as often, but the FPO field, because there's less players, so there's a little bit less parity. You get the idea a lot of times where it'll get to the final round and everybody just kind of starts playing really sloppy, and it's kind of just whoever can scrap the most wins. And in that scenario, Paige typically wins. When it's just kind of everybody is slopping it up and it's like a real like stumble to the finish line. You just have to
hold it together.
Right. That's when Paige wins because talent kind of prevails. But whenever somebody like really goes for it and goes out and takes it, like Missy did, then she just doesn't win. Like that's kind of seems to be the theme with Paige this year. Because Missy just, took a hold of things pretty early and just kind of pushed forward and Paige couldn't do anything about it. It doesn't seem like Paige does not seem like the player this year where she's going to go into a final round tie with somebody and then it's going to be like Eagle and Paul where they both just duel each other and score like crazy. Like that just isn't the Paige I've seen this year.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird because you would almost expect it to be.
Yeah, like she's just not like...
That's what I would expect her to do.
She just... you know what it comes down to as well as like we're seeing the courses have so much more par 4 and placement shots on the modern tour, right? Like Paige dominated an older tour and she still does dominate to some extent. But I think the Paige's thing is she lacks consistency. So when all of a sudden you're playing holes that require 2 or 3 really good shots instead of just one, her scoring just goes down because she's going to yank one into a tree or throw one out of bounds. Like she just does too many. She makes too many unforced errors, just careless mistakes.
Yeah.
And
even on 18 yesterday, because I was obviously rooting for Kristin to tie her for the top 3 so that I would get points. She had a wide open, like 100, and I think the range found it at 170 feet.
Yeah.
I say wide open. There were trees, but
yeah, relatively open.
A player of her caliber is getting up and down on that every time. And just early release, a little bit of Anheuser, kicked over, and she didn't get up and down, and that's what allowed Kristin into the tie for 3rd.
I almost
and
wonder...
It's just like shots like that, it surprises me.
I almost wonder if she just needs to simplify her game a little bit. There are so many FPO players who make their living just knowing how to throw straight, accurate shots or knowing how to, like, Valerie Manjano just knows when to disc down and like play for hyzer flips, and she plays a very smooth and controlled game, whereas Paige goes out there and just tries to rip the disc all over the place, just tries to just throw bombs and lace lines and whatever. And I almost wonder if she would benefit from just taking a more slowed down, controlled approach to the game, almost like what Simon Lizotte did, to where, okay, let me just focus on hitting lines, playing smooth, and like I think she would have more success that way. sometimes I just watch her play and there's just so much aggressiveness. To just the way she attacks, drives, and approaches, to where I'm like, yeah, just like she overcomplicates it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like you were saying, because like previously in previous years, a lot of times FPO were playing on layouts that just weren't meant for them, to where you just had to just chuck something out there.
Yeah.
You know, if you could get 400 feet off the tee and everyone on your card was only getting 350, you know, that changes things a lot, especially when, you know, that might open up a whole new line and stuff like that, to where to be as dominant as she has been throughout her entire career, it's required that type of like super aggressive play.
Yeah.
And now that we're seeing FPO, because I mean, if you look at the score at Northwoods Black, for instance, or I guess they played, it was still called Northwood Black.
Yeah. It was like
the FPO layout, the scores were essentially very comparable to MPO. I mean, the hot round yesterday for FPO was 7 under by Alexis, and I think for MPO it was 9 under.
Yeah.
And like a good round, like Missy, Owen Scoggin, stuff like that, they shot like 4 or 5, like very, very similar scores, to where basically what that shows is the Ledgestone team, Heinold and his staff, did a good job of developing Sunset Hills and Northwoods to play to FPO strengths, to where FPO could score while still being challenged, because you still had plenty of score separation. And I think this was an incredible FPO tournament, to where it allowed them to show what they're good at, but it still challenged the entire field. So like the best players were able to still rise and separate, but it actually challenged the entire field, versus sometimes it's like way too easy for the top to separate, or way too hard for the field to be like actually challenged. And yeah, I think you're right. I think Paige has developed a very aggressive game, because that's what was required in the previous years when she was as dominant, and she is still dominant. Let's not act like she is not the best FPO player. She's still one of them. She's the greatest of all time. But it's a lot different of a story this year. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It almost seems like FPO is requiring less aggressive playing and more you just need the consistency to place an FPO, because consistency is what's going to place you higher up.
Well, and that's the reason you have players like Owen Scoggins that are week in, week out coming top 5, because like she doesn't really have all the tools to win, but she's going to keep it in play and she's going to make putts. And like, if I'm Paige, I'm looking at players. I'm looking at the players that are consistently like always around the lead, and I'm like, what are they doing? Why are they so easily doing that when I feel like I have a better game than them? Oh, because they're just keeping it in play and they're making putts. You know.
Yeah. Now on the MPO side, we talked about this a little bit, but Ricky, I mean, we joked about last year a little bit, but Ricky realistically owns this event.
He does.
Because I mean, even last year, if the round finished out, or, you know, went to the final round, whatever, he was probably he's either winning or coming second. I mean, he could have come third, obviously, whatever, but he kind of dominates out there, because even in 2019 Worlds, he made that crazy comeback when Paul won, and he had a chance to throw it in on hole 18 when he was like out of it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty upset with myself. I didn't pick him to win. I'm glad I put him in my top 3. I just have to blame my mental fog of sleep deprivation last week for that, but he's now not lost 3 years in a row. And I mean, he tried to make it a little interesting yesterday with the double bogey on 17 during the final round, but it didn't change matter.
Much. Yeah,
no.
Ricky is, I mean, the dude's a different breed. He going in. I mean, both those courses for MPO were playing like they were playing tough. They were no joke. I mean, we know the Northwoods plays tough, but Eureka Temp is no cakewalk. There's so many chances to get in trouble there. And, you know, he gets into that final round and he's got really good players on his heels. You know, everything pointed to, and this has happened a few times this year, and it's kind of bummed me out a little bit, but it is what it is, where like everything points to, oh, we're going to have ourselves, you know, an absolute horse race here going into the final round. Like, we've got Paul a few strokes back, AB is right there, Gannon right there, like really good players. This is going to be awesome. And then he kind of just pulls away and, you know, leaves them all in the dust. And, you know, that's just Rick. You know, he can just do that. You know, he's demoralizing to play against because he is so hard to match shot for shot, because there are days where he is on and you just feel like there's nothing you can do. You know, you take a bad hole and he just keeps chugging along. And that's just kind of what it was. Yeah, I mean, he owns this event, and it is a great event to own, because it is a really hard one to win consistently, because anybody can just have a bad time at Northwoods. So I think that Rick has, proven himself. He had a few shaky weeks. He had the injury situation going on, but he's, he's making his case to be, the leader, the favorite going into Worlds. That's for sure.
Yeah, especially going
back to Emporia.
I'll call it home.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
home.
Ricky's odds to win right now, like if you were betting on it, would be shocking. Like they would be so good.
Yeah,
because like he seems like a very clear favorite.
Yeah, I mean, he's won there before. He's going home to. He's gonna be there. There is something about players being at an event that like their main sponsor puts on.
Yeah,
like Discraft with D-Glow and Ledgestone. I mean, that's why I put Paul in my top 3. I know on the show y'all were like, a little surprised that I picked him to win. When you're at an event that Paul's going to feel so comfortable with Nate Heinold, Bob and Mike are always there. Ben Askren was out there. It's a very loose event for Discraft players, and you have the face of Discraft and Paul. He was gonna show up, and I mean, he did.
He did.
But like that's what I look at, and when we go to Worlds, Ricky's gonna show up. I mean, obviously Ricky and Paul are always going to show up, but I think Ricky has a little bit of the edge because all of Dynamic's going to be there.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, they are always there. They can't move. And so you definitely have to think he has a little bit of advantage. But going to the final round, I was really thinking this was a chance for one of the young guns, Gannon or AB, to take it down. I wanted AB, obviously.
I really thought the AB, he didn't blow up through the third round, which I really thought was like going to be where it happened. And I really thought it was going to happen. I felt it for some reason. I was like, oh my gosh, like, cause you know why I felt it? I was like, there has been so many different winners this year. Like, we're seeing Alden Harris, Isaac Robinson, Bradley Williams. Like we're seeing all these different winners. Like this would just make sense if like, this is where AB wins. Like that would make sense for this season. And I was really expecting it, and he played okay, took 4th, but yeah, Rick was just unbeatable, unfortunately.
Well, that's what I mean, he had enough birdies to tie Rick. He just
made
6
too
bogeys.
many mistakes. Yeah,
because he had 8 birdies that final round, and that would have put him at 26 under, which would have tied him with Rick. Or at least like going into hole 18, they would have been tied or had some pressure because of Rick's double bogey. But obviously, we're talking about a lot of scenarios because now Rick keeps his double bogey and AB erases 6 bogeys. But still, like he played the course well. And Gannon hung around. It was really the stretch for Rick was 8 to 13. He didn't miss a hole. He got them all. And during that stretch, AB went even, and Gannon went, was it 1 over? Yeah, I'm looking at it. He went 1 over. So it is. That's the tournament.
Right.
And Paul made a push, but it was too little, too late.
Yeah. Yeah. He really did surge towards the end. That's Rick. He's gonna be tough to beat, and he's proven that when he puts himself in the mix this year, he's really hard to top. I think I'm just gonna say this right now: if Rick wins Worlds this year, this is a hot take. If Rick wins Worlds this year and gets his 3rd world title, I think he finishes his career with more world titles than Paul.
Oh shoot!
Yeah,
no, not a chance.
Not a chance.
Really?
He's only 29 years old.
Obviously, I can't say not a chance because statistically there is a chance. But I'm saying the field has gotten way too good. I think people winning multiple worlds, that era is a little behind.
What about?
So he'd have to win 3 more. He'd have to win 3 more from now till the end of his career, and I don't see that happening.
I don't know. That's
just a tie, Paul.
You give Rick 7 more years in his prime after this. He's gonna win a little less than half of them after this year. I don't know.
So 7. So he wins this year. Let's just give him that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So now he's a 3-time world champion.
29.
He has to win 3 out of the next 7 years against
Gannon
Bird.
That's giving him a prime till age 36, which he could go further than that. But I would say that's generous.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. No, because he'd have to win almost half the worlds from now for over the next 7 years. You have to win almost half the worlds.
I don't know, man.
Who do you guys think is?
I don't see it.
Who do you guys think is our next first-time world champion?
Gannon Burr.
I was thinking. Options out there.
I forgot Eagle existed.
Yeah, it's like tough to argue against Eagle after that European performance.
Eagle, there's 2 things that are gonna happen. Okay, if Eagle, because there's a chance that Eagle or Gannon could win at Emporia this year.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And topple Rick. I would almost say I think Rick's by far the favorite. I think Eagle's second. Paul's always going to be in the mix at Worlds. What is it, 10 years in a row now that he's come in second or first at Worlds?
I
believe
2012. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're in year 10,
this is year
which
10.
obviously we missed 2020, but whatever.
Yeah.
So like obviously Paul's gonna be up there, but what did Gannon finish at the Dynamic Disc Open?
I don't even remember. Was he there?
If he wasn't there, that could be super sneaky. Because it seems like courses that play well for Gannon's play style.
I don't think there is a course that doesn't play well for Gannon's play style.
He came in 10th.
Oh, so he did okay there considering the conditions.
Okay, Ricky kind of bullied the field.
Yeah, he did.
He won by 6.
Well, you remember, like...
Simon's a sneaky one that could win Worlds this year. World is going to be interesting.
It's just going to be very interesting. Because, like, if the wind is down, which it will be, compared to where it was last time, that court is going to play completely different. So, like, that's where it gets tough.
I would be happy with a Simon win.
Worlds is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the wind today in Emporia, the gustiest it gets is 11 miles an hour.
Yeah, it won't be. It won't be nearly
very
like it was. So
speaking of
another
Worlds,
player that was.
Speaking of Worlds, everybody's going to need to tune in for our World stream. Our
final round live stream. It's going to be happening.
It's going to be awesome.
If you didn't see the clips from last year, they kind of. I mean, I'm sure if you're a fan of Foundation, you probably saw them because we posted them everywhere, and they
we'll be posting them. We'll be posting them again leading up to it.
We'll be posting them again.
Yeah.
It basically what it essentially lets you do is like just throw it up on your laptop and throw Worlds up on your TV or whatever to where you're not really watching us, but you're kind of hanging out with us. A lot of people mute the commentary. We don't do commentary during it, but you kind of just like it's like you're hanging out with a bunch of friends watching a sports game.
Yeah, and we're
all just kind of hanging out, talking about what's going on the screen, and making some side bets.
And we'll usually be on a slight delay. So what you can do is you can if you see something happen on screen that you know we're going to react to, you can then like a few seconds later look over and see how we react to it. That's kind of the fun part of those.
That's what happened with Conrad's throw-in. Was like our viewership just spiked out of nowhere. We weren't watching it, obviously, the viewership, but we were watching the coverage, and because like obviously there's a delay from when it actually happens at Worlds to being streamed. Then we watch the stream and then we stream it back to you, just the camera of us. So there's a solid like 5 to 10 second delay between when it actually happens to us. And so a lot of people like pulled it up in that 5 to 10 seconds. And I mean, obviously we lost our mind. I mean, it was the greatest shot in disc golf history. I don't expect that to happen at Worlds again.
I don't think anything like that's going to happen.
Promises something crazy. Worlds always promises something crazy.
It is crazy to think that like that shot, we'll probably never see anything that improbable rather, in our lifetime as far as in disc golf. No, like throwing in like that for the win, that'll probably, for the playoff, that'll probably never happen again. Like that is an all-time disc golf moment.
That was crazy.
There. It might happen in like an A tier,
not at Worlds
or something, but not at Worlds.
Yeah,
it will never happen at Worlds again. I mean, you're more likely to be struck by lightning probably like 10 times if someone ran the numbers than that to happen again at Worlds.
Oh my god!
Scientifically,
if you can't tell, we're getting excited about Worlds.
One other player that I was thinking a lot about for Worlds this year that now after a few weeks in a row I'm just very disappointed is Chris Dickerson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, he came in 20th this year. This weekend.
Stunk this weekend.
I chose him to win.
Yeah, he stunk this weekend. I don't know what was going on. He is
came
definitely
in 19th.
Yeah, he's cooling off.
By almost 20 strokes.
He is cooling off at the wrong time. It's so hard though with a guy like Dickerson because like once you have built enough history around your game, like Dickerson has been around long enough that we know he's good. It's hard to just like right now. Paul has had a really rough patch this year. So like after a long time, it's very easy.
Well, he's had a rough patch for Paul.
Right, but you know what I mean? Like it's easier to then like after like 6 weeks of it in a row be like, yeah, they're just not really playing well this year. But Dickerson, like it's very tough to like quickly shift against him and be like, oh, he's just like slumping because I still feel like next week he could be, he could win at Des Moines.
Yeah.
So Paul from April to June went 51st, 7th at a Silver Series, 19th, 5th, 14th at a Silver Series. And then since then, he's went top 10 with the second at a major and then second at Ledgestone. But he had that stretch, and unfortunately that stretch was from April to June.
Yeah, no,
there's only
Paul is like starting to warm up to where,
Which he always does. This time of year is Paul's time of year.
So,
like we said with Missy.
He's going to try and flip the narrative for sure. I mean,
if he gets a win at Worlds, wins like what, like if he wins Des Moines this weekend, then wins Worlds, wins GMC or MVP, and then places well at USDGC, it's gonna be like, yep, that's Paul.
And I believe he's defending at Des Moines, right? He won last year. Is that right?
I think so. I think so.
I believe.
I can look it up.
I believe he won Des Moines. Yeah, I mean, it's this year more than ever, and it's becoming this way in disc golf. We just aren't going to know the full story until literally the very last putt on the very last day of the last event, and we could just look back and be like, now let's see, where things sit, because there's just so much shifting and moving going on this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, one final thing I wanted to bring up before we got off of Ledgestone. We'll get into points after this. Personally, I think I had this take last year, but my take hasn't changed, although I still think it is a hot take. I don't think that the Pro Tour / Ledgestone should use Northwoods Black anymore. Because you can't stream the front nine.
Yeah. No.
And so I think it's unacceptable that the Disc Golf Pro Tour / Disc Golf Network is charging people for a subscription to watch live disc golf. And then probably one of, if not the biggest Pro Tour stop of the year in Ledgestone, one of the bigger ones, you can't watch half of 2 rounds. And then for FPO, the final round, you couldn't watch the front nine of FPO. Yeah. I get you can watch it like post-produce and stuff like that, but when you're charging people for a subscription for live coverage and you can't give them live coverage, you got to say, hey, we can't go to that course.
I do
like, the course is great. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But like with the current business model and the lack of coverage capabilities, you just can't be there. I don't understand it. Or at least try to do something. Like still go live when they went. Like teed off and like be fed, because they obviously were able to do highlights when they teed off on the back nine, and like show us stuff on the back nine and have like a pre-show where one thing I think the Pro Tour I noticed, they have like that after show they do after every round. Problem with the after show is they're having the same commentators do the after show.
Right.
That doesn't happen in other sports for a reason, because when you've been talking about the round, you've already covered all these talking points, Ian and Philo, or Ian and Zoe.
Yeah.
Depending on FPO or MPO, you've already covered all these talking points throughout the round. So then it feels weird. So what ended up happening is Ian just looks at the leaderboard, is like, oh, look, Double G popped up there. What do you think of that, Philo? And Philo's like, yeah, man, Double G's game really works well out here.
He's always
it's
in
like,
it, man. Double G, yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, look, Paul came in second. What do you think of that? It's like, that's not an after show. That sucks.
Yeah, no, they need another panel if they're going to do that.
Versus you pop over to 2 people who've been watching the round and just taking notes, and then they can go back through what just happened, break down stats, and like that's their job. So during the 4-hour broadcast, they're just taking notes of stats and stuff like that, and have those same people do kind of like TNT NBA, where you have like, Chuck, I forget all the guys, whatever, Kenny, all of them sitting there before the show, before the game. They come to it at halftime, and then they go to them after the game. Have that type of panel going on during the front nine, where people are talking about what players need to do, and then talking about as it happens. Like, they're talking about circle 1 putt, how important that is. Owen Scoggins making a push. Look at her circle 1 putts. Here's some highlights that have happened through the first 5 holes.
Yeah.
Do something. Give us something if you're going to be out there. But starting the coverage halfway through, like the MPO coverage on Friday and Saturday started at like 6 p.m. The FPO coverage, the back nine's the most important, but the final round, a lot happened during that front nine. Yeah. And you just don't see it. It's just very frustrating to pay, and then you don't get the coverage you're paying for.
This is an interesting point of contention between, it's like the whole Pro Tour / live disc golf model versus the, local tournament model, because Ledgestone obviously is the biggest disc golf tournament in the world. It's such a big AM event, and I already have issues with the way that things are running right now, because the AM field forces FPO to not be able to play Eureka Temp, which is like the signature course of that event.
I don't know though. I kind of like that. I kind of like FPO being at Sunset.
I don't like Sunset.
It's nearly as interesting if FPO goes to Eureka Temp.
Why not?
That course, because it's hard. It would be very hard to make it an FPO course. It'd be very hard to make it an FPO course.
Why do you say that? Just move the tees up.
What are you gonna do with hole 1?
What do you or move the tee across the water? Zone? Make it a par 3 with water on the left. Like, there you go.
It's an opening hole. That would suck. The course would completely change. I think Sunset Hills would be better.
Why would that hole suck? Why would that?
If you moved it across the water to where the drop zone is, basically?
You had to drive a little bit further back than that, maybe, and then you just played it. It'd be a tough par 3 with water on the left.
I just think by all the changes you'd have to make, it's already a lot of walking out there.
I think Sunset Hills
walking
sucks.
for FPO.
I think Sunset.
I disagree.
I think that course
I think
sucks.
Sunset plays well for them.
I think it is just boring. And here's what I think more so about the course, how it plays. I think it's a boring and generic looking course for considering the men are playing two very signature courses. I think the women get to play one of them, and the other one is just kind of like thrown in there. And I just think
the women used to play Eureka Temp, and they hated it. I remember they had a hot mic of Paige Pierce turning around. It's like, this is why I freaking hate Nate Heinold. Well, then that was like a few years ago.
Well, did they play the same tees as the guys?
I think so. Well, I don't remember exactly. I remember that was when they had the stupid sand volleyball hole. I don't know if you remember that. It was like 2016. Yeah. Ledgestone used to be a bad event. People just came because of the money.
Regardless, back to my original point. Regardless of that, that's a side point. But I think that with the whole live disc golf thing, like Nate Heinold and all of them are like super, super prideful in Northwoods Black. Like they love that course. They love that they have like.
That's fine. They should.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. This is where it'll be an interesting point of contention to where. Okay, now the Pro Tour is like, no, we won't run an event if you're going to use Northwoods Black because the network like needs to be able to broadcast. We have sponsors, we have this and that. But then Heinold's pushing back, and like he's got power with the PDGA too, you know. Oh, but no, we need to have Northwoods. Like it's going to be an interesting point of contention as we go forward, and because we're going to see that with
obviously, it's obvious that Heinold won. Because
he won
the
this
Pro
year.
Tour obviously, the Pro Tour obviously knew this problem from last year and from Worlds. Like it's not like Northwoods suddenly lost cell coverage. So like it's pretty obvious that the Pro Tour either is like, yeah, screw our subscribers, which I don't think is happening, or they're like, hey, this is a problem, and Ledgestone's like, well, this is what makes the event great. Like we care about the players, not about the coverage, and the Disc Golf Network's like, well, we have to care about the coverage.
I'm just wondering if it gets to a point where Disc Golf Network is like, no, we're just going to put our foot down, and the event is not going to be a Pro Tour stop if this is happening. Then do they fold over, or like I'm mostly saying this because I think it's just gonna be a curious thing to watch, because I do think that the network like that. I agree with you. That's unacceptable to not have the front nine of a huge event being broadcasted to paying subscribers. That's hilarious. Like that's almost laughable.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
It just seems like some kind of gimmick.
In their defense, it was advertised before. It's not like I turned on the TV and was like, oh my gosh, I can't watch it. But that's not what I'm saying.
It's very gimmicky and weird for the Pro Tour. So
it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me why we're still there if we know that's going to happen, because like. Yes, Northwoods is in my opinion, what makes Ledgestone so good. Because I think Eureka Temp would get very boring if you played it 4 rounds. It also like Eureka Temp's another one of those like Winthrop Gold type courses where there's a lot of shots where if you have someone from outside the sport go spectate there or like watch it, it's like, why are we doing certain things? Like, why are we throwing over a baseball field or whatever? Right. It just doesn't feel like disc golf belongs there to a certain extent. But it also has some signature stuff that like. Yeah, is it quirky and weird? Maybe, but like throwing off the bridge, that's sick. I don't think that's a weird gimmick.
I like the water
throwing
tower.
Around the water tower, that's sick. I don't think that's a weird gimmick. I mean, it was sick to see Ezra ace that hole. Mm-hmm. But
that'd be an interesting segment.
I don't think.
An interesting segment would be like too gimmicky or not, and like give like different items, because like baseball field for me too gimmicky, looks pretty bad.
I hear you.
Water tower and bridge, not too gimmicky. I think those work. Those are okay. Like disc golf has very fine lines in like what works and what doesn't, and I think that some events push the boundaries, because you know what the problem with the baseball field is? It makes for an awesome disc golf obstacle. No matter which way you put it, I love that you have to throw a nose up disc. And there's just an area that you have to clear to catch it. You can take it wide if you're playing it safe. Like it makes such a good obstacle, but it looks awful.
Mm-hmm. Well, also like on 18, it's normally you can't really see it on coverage, but if you go to Ledgestone or you see it on 18, like there's a playground, a kid's swing set on the right side of the fairway, and like it doesn't happen so much nowadays, but. Few years back, it wasn't uncommon for rollers to land there. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. I don't like when I like that it's in a park. I like the sport, like that feel, because I think it's like true. It has a true disc golf feel, and it's a good championship level course. So I like that. But at the same time, like, I don't like when we have a shot landing and you're like trying to throw through a swing set or whatever. Or like years ago when they were playing on a sand court. Or stuff like that.
It immediately takes away some of the all of the professional look of the sport. Really,
exactly.
You're watching. You watch the card in the gallery.
Northwoods Black.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, Northwoods Black does the opposite of that. Like Northwoods, it's just disc golf. You roll in, and there might be like It's obviously there's a park there, but like the course they're playing is disc golf. Like that's all that's there. People aren't walking through the woods. You don't have to worry about people fishing or anything like that. Like it's what a disc golf course should be.
The course is evil.
It just doesn't have coverage. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Points wise, after Ledgestone, I was able to extend my lead a little bit on you guys. So I got 2 points for MPO, 4 points for FPO, and my dark horse pick. Y'all are questioning my dark horse pick. I'd like to explain it.
Why did we question? What was
Luke
it?
Sampson.
Oh, yeah.
Luke
I
Sampson,
knew
my
you had a
dark horse
reason
pick.
for it.
The whole reason was he played very well at New London, and New London and Northwoods are very similar courses.
Smart pick.
I just went. I think Luke Sampson's going to do well at Northwoods, and he won it for me. So got 2 points to dark horse.
Goat.
So I'm now at 108. Konner is at 74. He got 1 point in MPO, 2 points in FPO. And Trevor gained a little traction on Konner. He's now at 60 with 1 point in MPO and 4 points in FPO.
Oh,
the thing that saved us, Trevor,
was it tied for third?
We put Kristin in third. Yep.
Yeah, that was it.
Or Kristin or Paige in third. We put Paige in third. That was big for us.
Sick.
Konner went Paige, Kristin, Kat, and we both put someone in second and bumped Paige to third.
Big time.
So
time play.
that was big for us. It got us points.
Because Paige tied for third, and so we had her in third.
Gotcha.
Paige and Kristin tied for third.
Yeah. Boom.
Understood.
All right, some power ranking times.
Yeah.
I didn't touch these yet because I don't even know what the frick to do with them.
Why?
I think Ricky's the number one player in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Period.
That's a clear one.
We still have Eagle in the Ghost one. We'll leave him there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eagle's
Eagle is
the
still a
Ghost
Ghost one.
But Ricky's the number one player in the world, undisputed. Dickerson at 2. I, out of spite, want to put him at like 15, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
He does need to be bumped down, I think, personally.
Yeah, we could probably bump. Where does Gannon sit right now?
Gannon's in 4th. Paul's in 5th.
Who's in 3rd?
Calvin.
Oh, gosh.
Calvin didn't have that good of a tournament either.
No.
He was able to come back with, like, he had good round 3 and 4. Round 2, he shot a 74.
Yeah.
Like he absolutely sucked out there.
I'm down with bumping Gannon to 3 and Paul to 4, then Dickerson at 5, and Calvin at 6.
Well, what I'm wondering is do we have Calvin jump Dickerson?
No.
He didn't sound so confident in that.
I don't know. It's crazy. Dickerson's gonna make us look so dumb like a week from now.
That's fine. He skipped too many tournaments.
Yeah, you're right.
The majors.
Yeah, you're right, Hunter.
He
Yeah.
12th at D-Glow and then just came in 20th at Ledgestone.
Yeah,
he deserves to
Dickerson
be bumped down.
sucks, dude. Last week I said like
far.
jokingly that Paul like sucked and was washed up, and like I got a lot of hate in my comments. People thinking that was very serious about that. So I'm gonna be Dickerson sucks. He does actually suck. I'm not joking.
He does not suck. There's no way around it.
I'm just gonna make people come after me. What?
All right, so we think we go.
You're the
Ricky,
Dickerson
Gannon,
sim, dude.
Paul.
I was surprised that you didn't
Dickerson
pick. I was surprised that you didn't pick Chris for Ledgestone.
You can't let emotions get into your picks, Konner.
Well,
Dang, man.
You gotta
mine
separate
for
them.
me was more like he's good in the woods usually. That was like what I.
You gotta separate your head and your heart, man. You gotta separate those.
I'll try harder.
Because if it was my head, I'd have Dickerson up there every week. But you gotta split
It was my
them.
heart.
Well,
dude.
I understand that
I
because
would
my
have
head
AB winning every week.
My head said to put freaking Gannon in 3rd place. I don't know if you heard that, but I changed it and put Calvin. And I listened to my heart instead. My heart was stupid.
Your heart was very stupid.
Heart.
Your heart's always stupid.
Your heart is
you gotta know with that.
Stupid heart.
What you do?
So we're going Ricky, Gannon, Paul, Calvin, Chris.
Yeah.
That's how I'm
and then where does it go after that?
Well, let me just look at Calvin really quick to make sure that recently he's done better, because obviously he did better here. D-Glow. Oh, he won D-Glow. Yeah, what the frick? Obviously.
What the frick?
Okay. Come on, guys.
I didn't do
Calvin
anything.
fourth. No, that was all you, Konner. How dare you? Simon the 6th is what we have now.
Okay. Sick.
Was Simon at Ledgestone? Came in 26th.
Okay.
We're leaving him there. Kyle
Yeah,
Klein is the next one, and I think Kyle Klein could jump Simon if we wanted him to.
Okay.
I don't know what you're thinking.
Where'd Kyle Klein
what are we
finish
thinking?
at Ledgestone?
7th.
That's right. He was good. Yeah, let's jump Simon with Calvin.
Well, let me go head to head. Let me go head to head. Calvin Klein versus Simon.
If
Kyle
it's
Klein,
close, Kyle with the jump.
Simon. How far back should I go head to head?
I don't know. I don't remember how far we go back. I mean, the problem is Simon has those 2 wins. Simon's going to have those 2 wins to the end of time, and he's not going to win anything the rest of this year, and we're going to be holding on to those. That's the problem.
We're going to go from May to now. Kyle Klein versus Simon Lizotte. Kyle Klein's 3-2. They're 3-2-1.
Yeah, Kyle Klein.
Simon has 2 wins, but Kyle Klein, they have the same top 10 percentage.
Those wins were forever ago. Let's put Kyle ahead of him. Let's light a fire under Simon's butt. I know he listens to the podcast, so
Okay. So basically, it's when OTB Open, Simon won, Kyle came in 19th. Portland Open, Simon won, Kyle came in 17th. Preserve, they tied for 3rd. Idlewild, Simon came in 22nd, Kyle came in 3rd. D-Glow, Simon came in 10th, Kyle came in 6th. Ledgestone, Simon came in 26th, Kyle came in 7th.
Yeah,
I think we can jump him.
I think Simon's got to pick it back up. I agree.
Yeah. There we go. All right. Simon Lizotte is now the 7th best player in the world.
Been done.
And Kyle Klein. I think one storyline here in our power rankings is the slow rise of Paul McBeth back towards the top.
It's true. Well,
That is
we
very
said
true.
it earlier. He's been playing well the last few events.
That April to June stretch, we had Paul in 7th at one point, I think, and he's back to 3rd with Gannon Byrne.
Yeah.
It was all that's in his way.
It's very cool.
After Simon, we have Matty O. I feel like that's probably fair to keep there.
Yeah.
I'll do Matty O to Simon to make sure in that same period.
Matty O played well this week.
Oh, Matty O's 2-1 against Simon. He wasn't at one of Simon's wins.
Nah, let's just keep him there.
He went 6th at Idlewild, 5th at Ledgestone. Simon went 22nd.
The reason I'm
26th.
not going to give Matty O any too much credit because I don't think he
until
can
he
win.
plays more.
I don't think he can win.
Okay.
He keeps putting himself in the mix, but he can't ever win. So, and I don't think he is capable of it.
Well, I think for me, it's just he's going to tour the rest of the year, so I'll be curious to watch as he continues to tour.
He's the Owen Scoggins.
He didn't play too much.
He's the Owen Scoggins of MPO. Always in the mix, can't win.
Matty Owen.
Matty Owen. That's funny.
That's
You're
funny.
welcome.
Good job, Connor.
Thank you.
Very
You
good.
get a cookie.
actually do have
James
cookies.
Conrad
We
is who we
do?
have in
No.
9th.
Oh.
I don't
James
even
Conrad in 9th.
I don't even care about 9th and 10th.
James
Okay.
Conrad who? Who's that?
Someone said Chris Clemens. They said they think Chris Clemens should be a top 10. I'm going to go Chris Clemens versus James Conrad and just see.
I did
see
hear
what
that.
we're looking at here.
Yeah, I heard that argument as well. Well, because
Conrad's
last
4
week
and 3, but Chris Clemens went 40th at the Preserve,
that's a tough look.
51st at Beaver State Fling.
Tougher look.
He went 4th, 8th the last 2 weeks, but
yeah,
Conrad's been the better player across the board.
I think that Clemens is getting hot though. Somebody to look for.
Clemens, let's see. Maybe I think we keep Conrad in 9th. Does Chris Clemens jump Adam Hammes? Maybe that's who we look at.
Maybe.
Because Hammes is who we have in 10th right now. They're 4 and 4.
Ooh.
But Hammes just came in 65th.
All right, Clemens over Hammes.
Hammes has to drop out of the top 10.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
Let's do
Is
it.
Chris Clemens the one in? I think Kevin Jones has a case to be made for himself.
Oh, potentially. Yeah. Let's check on KJ.
So here's Ledgestone, Clemens came in 8th, KJ came in 12th. D-Glow, Clemens came in 15th, Kevin Jones came in 11th. Preserve, Clemens came in 40th, Kevin Jones came in 16th. And then Silver Series, we're going to skip, although Clemens came in 51st, which some would argue that should hurt him. Portland Open, 12th, 21st. I think Kevin Jones or Chris Clemens.
Let's go with
I think either one.
Let's go with Clemens
I'm
because I
going
like
Clemens.
him more.
I'm gonna make my own power
I don't know,
rankings.
though. You know what? No, my vote's Jones because
Okay, never mind. Yeah, let's go with Jones.
Well, just because the Preserve, Chris Clemens came in 40th, and Kevin Jones hasn't finished outside the top 25 since June.
That is true. And
Actually,
you know
since
what?
May.
If you ask me next event who's going to finish higher, I would bet on Kevin Jones. So,
Yeah,
But
I
it's-
think we got to go Kevin Jones in 10th.
But
That
at
is
some
true.
point, you do have to ask yourself who has the better beverage-based nickname, and that has to be Chris Clemens.
I've never had
You
KJ
could probably come up with
USA
something cool, KJ.
beverage.
Like
KJ,
OJ.
KJ,
but KJ.
KJ Kool-Aid.
Yeah, but
There you
Clemonade.
go.
Clemonade is
No,
tough
that's
to
fine.
beat.
I'm
You
with you
don't
guys.
like lemonade.
KJ all the way.
Clemonade, there's only one direction to go.
That's
It
true.
has to be lemon
Has
based.
to be lemon.
You
You're
have to have a lemon drink.
That's true.
You're right.
KJ,
You can go
anything.
anywhere with that.
You-
Stupid Connor.
You guys have convinced me yet again. The peer pressure
Lady
has worked.
Gators, KJ.
You know what? I hate Chris Clemens. He sucks.
One time I bought a Chris Clemens like lemon judge, and that disc sucked. It was like the most inconsistent.
Hey,
I
have
love
you seen the
judge.
Chris Clemens culprit though?
Yeah, the Clemens
those are
sick.
sick.
Very cool.
I
Very
love
cool.
the judge, and that judge just didn't fly well. So you know what? And I threw it on hole 17 at USDGC, and at Winthrop, I should say, and I didn't make it over the hedge. So that's all we have to say.
So
about
that's why Chris
There's
Clemens is
bitter-
not.
but also I did get to meet him though at USDGC that
Was
year,
he
and he
nice?
was very
He's a
nice.
cool dude.
So it's
He's
tough.
got
He's a very
beautiful
cool dude.
hair.
Very
Kevin
nice
Jones
guy.
is also a cool dude though. Kevin Jones is also a very cool dude.
Is he,
so.
dude?
His hair isn't as cool.
He
though.
is.
Round-
So Kevin Jones,
Round
I
one,
met him
front
when he was
nine.
with Pro Discus. Yeah, I met Kevin Jones when he was with Pro Discus. He was friends with Lance
that
Brown.
was the
who I
old
friends with.
Kevin Jones, buddy.
And no, so I met Kevin Jones then. That was like when he was like just people didn't really know him yet. He hadn't done good at USDGC yet. That was later that year, and met him, super nice. Talked to him for like 20 minutes or so. This is at like Ledgestone. I don't see him for like a year and a half. All right, I didn't talk to him, nothing. And then at USDGC, he came in like second. That next year and a half later, however long it's been, and he was like walking by.
He remembered you.
And I like went to give him like a fist bump, like, "Hey man, great shooting, whatever." And he was like, "Dude, Hunter, how's it going?" I was like, "What the frick?" Nice guy,
I can
Dang,
understand
man.
now. Everybody, you heard that story, right?
Yeah.
So take that into consideration when Hunter talks about Kevin Jones, because if that happened to me, I would
Nice guy, Kev.
I would have a Kevin Jones pillowcase if that happened to me.
I mean,
So,
he remembered me
Yeah.
like,
No,
like
that's-
this is before foundation, before anything. This is before.
No,
he had
that-
no reason to know me.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And you know what? The only guy to ever do that to me, like a similar situation, was actually Sexton. Did that to me. Didn't expect him to
Sexton's
know.
also a nice guy.
Didn't expect him to know who I was, and he did that to me at USDGC. He was like, came up
Yeah.
like, "Hey man, how's it going? Like, how's things?" So I don't think he name dropped me though. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
big
that's what I'm
time.
saying. And it was a time before foundation. So he had literally the only way he would remember me is the 120-minute conversation a year and a half
We
before.
might have to add him
And
to
he
like
did.
the foundation. Well, because like I would say like right now like foundations like ally power rankings is like Eric Oakley is up there.
I was about to say
Very
that's
high.
probably the same.
Simon
reason we all
Lazat-
love
Simon
Eric
Lazat
Oakley.
Simon Lazat is also way up there. He's a listener.
We literally Eric Oakley. That was such. A
I'm
funny
trying to think of
situation.
like who else are like our big time. Alden Harris is a fan. I learned.
we love.
So
Oh, yeah,
Alden
Alden
Harris
Harris.
also
Alden
on
Harris.
that
He's a
list.
cool dude.
Let's keep the list there for now.
Ezra. We all love
Okay.
Ezra.
If you
Foundation
well,
loves
yeah,
Ezra.
yeah,
Ezra.
and
Ezra's
Foundation
gotta be
we
on the
do
list.
love Ezra. So there's
Yes.
4 on the list right now. If you're a pro and you don't ever comment on this podcast, please let us know you're
Jordan
listening.
Castro, I think, could be on
Jordan
the list.
Castro listens as well. Okay, that's a good list.
Ricky's a tentative list.
No,
list
dude,
item.
Ricky hates my guts, bro. He won't come on my show.
I don't know, dude. Ricky goes through phases with us. You know,
He does. I think low key.
he's like
I just want to love him.
he's embarrassed to admit he likes us.
Maybe.
That's where I'm at.
I just want to be friends with Ricky, and he won't let me.
That's kind of how I feel about Ricky. I'm embarrassed to admit that I like Ricky.
I'm not,
You know,
dude.
I like Rick.
love Rick.
I like Rick.
Yeah, me too.
I've
supporter.
learned. I've like it started as like an ironic thing where like it's like, oh yeah, come on, Rick, just like getting behind him a little bit. But now like I'm a fan of Rick.
Well, it was so hard because like Rick used to be like my enemy because he was like I was such a big Paul fan,
Well, that's
but
what I'm
now
gonna say is I feel like the Ricky Paul era is gone. Like I'm a
Yeah,
fan
it
of
is-
Paul.
it is gone.
I completely agree with you. That's why I like him now.
Because that was the same thing. Is I viewed it as like a Duke UNC thing. Like I couldn't be a Paul fan and a Rick
Yeah.
fan. I don't think of that way anymore. Like now I view like I root for both of them because it's not just a 2-horse race anymore.
Completely agree.
Absolutely.
Plus, once he broke out the bucket hat, I mean,
It's tough not
It's
to love
huge.
Jack.
It's huge. Well, it's not a massive bucket hat, but it's a huge moment.
it's a
moment.
it's a boonie hat, so it is a massive bucket hat. Technically,
True. Yes.
FPO power rankings. What the heck do we do here?
Where did we have Missy? Out of it, or is
Out
she
of
in
it,
the
we had
fifth?
Owen Scoggins in 5th.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Read
Which
the
is
list
tough.
as it is currently.
As it is currently, we have Kristin Tattar in 1st, Paige Pierce in 2nd, Katrina Allen in 3rd, Valerie Mandujano 4th, Owen Scoggins 5th. My proposal.
Hear me out. No, we might have the same thing. So you go.
My proposal is I think Valerie Mandujano might have to be bumped out the top 5.
Ooh, I strong disagree with that. I think.
So I'm gonna look at some facts real quick, and then I'll get back to you. You give me your proposal.
My proposal is we bump Cat out, slide Missy in that spot, and then don't touch it.
Well,
Think about that.
listen to this. Just listen to this, okay?
Listen.
Since May 1st, Missy Gannon is 4-3 against Valerie Mandujano. They both have one win, but Val's win is at Portland back in June.
Okay, never mind. I changed my opinion. Then we can do what you said.
Oh, because they went.
That's
so
a lot more dramatic than I thought it was.
Misty Gannon's worst finish was 12th last weekend. She's went 6th, 4th, 2nd, 10th, 2nd, 12th, 1st since May.
Gosh, dang, Missy.
And then Val has went 12th, 1st, 13th, 12th, 17th, 4th, 16th.
Dude, Val just blows up at the worst times, man. That's why I have
Missy's
her
more
inflated in my mind.
consistent right now.
Yeah, you're right. Let's do what you said.
So does Owen Scoggins say 5th and Missy Gannon jumps to 4th?
Yeah, respect.
Because Missy Gannon was the player that was on the bubble with Owen.
Yes.
When we were doing this before.
Yes, but now she's got to win.
She was in 6th for sure, but now she won. So I think it's okay to jump her. And then Owen Scoggins came into 2nd. She was right there.
Yeah. No,
so you can't touch Owen.
No,
I do think.
Do we slide Cat to 5?
Stays.
Do we slide Cat to 5 and bump them up to 3-4?
Let me go Gannon versus Katrina Allen. Since May.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we slide.
Cat's 4-3 against Missy.
Okay, that doesn't help.
Cat hasn't finished outside the top 10. Has she finished outside the top 10 all year?
She just disappoints me. That's all.
She does. She is disappointing. I'll give you that.
Cat Allen.
Katrina Allen has not finished outside the top 10 this entire year. Has only finished outside the top 5 once.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Twice. Deglow and actually 3 times because Ledgestone's not on
you're
there.
lying.
But she hasn't finished outside the top 10. Well, no, I was looking down the list. I messed up.
0 times.
Ledgestone's not on
Once. Twice. Okay.
3 times.
Let's do what you said the first.
But still, she hasn't finished outside the top 10. So I think we go. Do we leave Kristin at 1?
Yes.
Okay. So we go Kristin, Paige, Kat, Missy, Owen is the top 5.
Love it.
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
All right. It's time for our fan favorite segment, Trevor's Trivia. But first, another word from our sponsors.
Yeah, we've got a quick word from our friends at Aura. Do you guys know what the fastest crime growing in America right now? You know what it is? It's identity
Window
theft.
breaking.
No, it's identity theft.
Shoot.
And there's a new victim every 14 seconds. Listen, one time I got my identity stolen on PayPal, and they bought like $300 worth of Adidas shoes. It stunk.
Is this part of the ad read, or is that an
That's
actual
part of the
story?
ad read. Well, and it also happened to me. I'm supposed to give an actual story. That didn't happen.
That's an actual story. Okay.
I got the money back, kind of, but it was a bummer, and it made me feel sad and powerless.
That sucks.
And that's why I'm excited to partner with today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an identity theft protection, fraud monitoring, a VPN, a password management system, and antivirus software, all combined into one easy-to-use app. You might have one of these services already, but if you don't have all the tools, it's like locking the front door but leaving the back door wide open. Those who have had their identity stolen, like me, are often shocked when it happens. I certainly was. Imagine trying to log into your email account one day, only to see the password was changed hours ago, and you start getting notifications of activity from your bank, credit cards, crypto accounts, etc. That is scary and unfortunately a reality for too many people. Thankfully, Aura monitors the dark web for your emails, passwords, and social security numbers and sends alerts fast right to your phone and email. Literally, I set up my Aura account, and within a few minutes, it had found my Aura or my password on the dark web like twice, like really fast. So definitely changing those around, but it works really quickly, does that scan. It also gives you near real-time alerts on suspicious credit inquiries, like if someone was opening a loan or credit card in your name. Aura's VPN allows you to stay anonymous online by keeping your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. You can protect your family and yourself from identity theft at Aura.com/foundation disc golf. It's also linked below in the description. And if you sign up right now, Aura will give you a 2-week free trial with my link. So you can see for yourself how many times Aura finds you or your family members' personal info on the dark web. And if you sign up, let me know in the comments below if your personal information has been compromised. You won't regret checking. So make sure you check out Aura. Use that link in the description.
I'm confident that the dark web has a lot of my information from how many sketchy things I download for videos.
Yeah, that's where it all comes from.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I guess we're moving into trivia.
Yep.
Guess that's my cue.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's your.
I'm like everybody's just being really quiet right now. It's so weird when Hunter's not here in person.
I'm prepping my brain for trivia, dude.
Okay, so
I never know what trivia is going to be like, and I just always assume we're really bad at it.
No, so I've got kind of a reworking of a game I tried a long time ago, but it's a lot different this time. So basically, we're gonna look at the UDisc World Rankings is the reference I'm gonna be using.
Oh gosh.
And the way this game is going to work is we'll start with Hunter.
Yes.
And Hunter is going to name, or actually, I'll start with naming the player to make it easy, make it fair. And I'm going to give you, Hunter, the 100th ranked player in the world, in the UDisc World Rankings. I'm going to give him to you. And then your goal is to name a player as close to below 100, but as close to 100 as possible.
Below is in like higher, like 99th, 98th.
Right. So you're going to try to name the 99th player. And if you name the 99th player, you get 1 point. And you want to have the least amount of points possible. And then Connor's going to go, and he's going to try and name the next one. And you're going to keep going until you get all the way to 1.
I'll just name Ricky.
I think I can... Below 50, that's tough.
If you name a player who is ranked, so let's say I give you the 100th ranked player and Hunter accidentally gives me the player that's ranked 103, for every point that you are above, you get double points, so even worse.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with the 100 ranked player, and
that'd be embarrassing.
That is currently Scott Stokely, and I'm gonna throw it.
He's 100.
Yep, I'm gonna throw it to Hunter to get it started.
Already threw me for a loop because I wouldn't have known that.
Ezra Robinson.
It might take me a little while to
I'm
find him.
Terrified right now. Oh my goodness.
I think that Ezra Robinson might be ranked. I'm not seeing him here, so he may be ranked higher than 100.
Is he just not ranked?
Did I just win? Oh, that's the end of the game.
I still haven't seen his name yet.
Oh gosh. He shouldn't be that high.
If he's higher,
you're looking for Ezra, not Isaac, right?
Yeah.
If he's higher, then I just have to name one player in the top 100.
I'm literally still scrolling. I scrolled all the way to
just not be ranked.
I scrolled
he might not be
all
ranked.
the way to 146 and did not see him. I'm just I'm scrolling up and making sure that he's not sneaky in here. But like I just made it. I'm like in the top 50 now.
I'm just trying to think of like names that
really
I know.
Oh no, here he is at 47th.
What the frick? How good is he?
So
he's that good?
That's going to go ahead and put you on the board with 53 points. I think that's the game. Yeah. I think that would literally statistically mean the game is over.
All right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to restart the game, and we're going to start at 50, and you can't say Ezra Robinson, and we're going to try and play again because clearly 100 was too difficult. And this time we're going to have
give me a player, give me the like 90th player in the world. Who's that?
90th is Silver Lot. So here, let me read the players from 99 on. It's
I would like
Nate Perkins, Dustin Keegan, Zach Melton.
I was actually going to say Nate
Noah
Perkins.
Fivish is in there. Tristan Tanner's in there. Reed Friskeura's in there. AJ Carey.
It
is tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. We're going to start at 50 because it'll be pretty much like the game never started.
It makes me feel good that you did that, Hunter, because sometimes you think of those names and like you either think, oh, well, they're bound to be in the top 50 and they're far from it, or you're like, oh, well, they're bound to be way down there. But then obviously.
Ezra Robinson, I just like, he doesn't tour that much.
I'm surprised as well, Hunter. I'm surprised as well.
I was not thinking he's a top 50 player. Like, he definitely would have been a player. I would have been like, oh, I'll take him as my dark horse.
50th in the rankings is Thomas Gilbert. Connor, you're going to start this time, and you can't say Ezra Robinson because you know where he is.
Dang, where is Brody right now? I know he was right on. Is he out of the top 50 right now or in it? Where is Yuli right now? Dang.
Just pick someone, man. Come on.
All right. I'm going to go with... Where's Casey White right now? I know the people that trickle between 50 and 49, but I don't know the people.
You picked Casey White for Dark Horse last week.
I did. You're right, but it's like week to week. But he didn't win my Dark Horse pick.
If you pick somebody who is like 51 or 52, that wouldn't be that bad of a pick.
You know? I'll give you a hint on Casey White. He didn't make the cut at Ledgestone.
I'm gonna go.
I would he moved up.
I'm just gonna go with Brody. Where's Brody right now?
Brody's in 41st, so that gives you 9. That's 9 points. It's not bad.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
And now it goes to Hunter.
Okay.
Because these first few picks are going to be tough, and then it's going to get easier. So this is a big pick for Hunter. If he picks a good one here,
outside the top 30 here, but in the top 40, that's an impossible range. I feel like there's got to be some sneaky players in there that you're like, how the frick are they there? I'm going. Dang, no, I can't. He has to be higher than that. Shoot, I don't want to say names either because I don't want Konner to think of people that I'm thinking.
I've already
of
got my next one.
Well, that doesn't. Make any
who is
sense.
it?
I'll let you know.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, I think well, depending on where he.
Yeah, that's
goes.
what I'm saying.
Dang, this is very, very, very tough.
I feel like this
is
doesn't.
near impossible.
I feel like this sounds a lot easier than it actually is.
Well, it'll get easier once we get to like the top 20.
I could name a lot of players higher than 41st in the world.
But you're trying to say
you have to name.
You don't want to go way higher. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like 38th best player in the world right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to say like super close, and I just don't know if that's possible because like you also don't know like a player like Isaac Robinson. It'd be very fair for him to be in that range, but he won. And so like, you don't know what UDisc does with that information. Like, is he just like in the top 20 for no reason, or like where the frick is he? Same thing with like Alden Harris. So I'm going.
Yeah, where the frick is Alden Harris?
Sir. Oh gosh, this is impossible. I'm just gonna. Okay, Chris Clemens. What the frick?
Okay.
Oof. Chris
Yeah,
Clemens
he's
is-
probably in like 60th.
Chris Clemens is he's in 12th.
Oh.
Oh, we were just arguing him for our top 10, Hunter.
Yeah,
Gosh,
that's
I'm
what
an
I was thinking.
I don't know
I'm
where
an
that.
idiot.
Yeah, that was pretty dumb.
Well, the other names rattling my mind were Eric Oakley and Greg Barsby.
Well, I think
The
both.
game's over again. I lost again. The game's over.
Yeah.
I want to ask.
Barsby's in 31st. That would have been a good pick.
Where's Drew Gibson?
Dang.
Drew Gibson is pretty close to the top 10.
Really?
No, he's in 16th.
Yeah, he's way up there.
Okay.
But like I thought you were gonna say Isaac Robinson, which he would have been 17th. The best pick would have been Jeremy Colling in 40th. You also
I
had
almost said him. He was shockingly high.
You had-
weeks ago.
Yeah, that seems kind of high to me as
Cole
well.
Redallen, Seppo Payu, Emerson Keith, Mason Ford, Presnell, Albert Tom. Those would have been good picks as well.
See, the issue is like with this game, you have to think of players that you haven't thought of all year.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Very. Yeah.
Very true.
It's like Presnell. Where the frick's Presnell been?
He's been
The
chilling
only
in
thing I remember about
34th in the
Presnell
world.
this year is the only thing I remember about Presnell this year is when someone tweeted about the best fairway driver and he said me, and I thought it was very funny.
Honestly,
That's all I remember
yeah.
about Presnell.
Honestly, your best pick there would have been somebody like Ezra Aderhold because like he's in 30th.
That's what I was gonna ask. Where is he?
And like, cause
How
like
is
he has
Ezra in 30?
because he hasn't won all year, and like he has some good finishes, but then he has some like bad ones, and he hasn't won. So like that's the guys you got to think of, the guys that have been kind of
That's
around.
wild.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, that's okay. We have a lot more to talk about, but Konner wins, double win. Big
You know, I
Thanks-
should have
thanks
just
for
did what I
bailing me out of that
said
one,
and just
Hunter.
I should have just picked Ricky both times. I would have had just the same success rate and would have been over way faster. All right, well, Champions Cup, we had some story breaking. The PDGA listened to everyone who was yelling, and they've announced that 2023, the Champions Cup's going back to WR Jackson, and they're hoping that it's going to stay there forever. It seems they just have to work with the county to make sure that that can happen, but that seems to be the plan, which
Heck
I
yeah.
think is a great move. To see the PDGA listening to the players and the fans, WR Jackson's the perfect home for an event like this. And the course deserves a major event there every year. Like, it was kind of a shame
Yeah,
whenever there like wasn't an event at WR Jackson.
I'm okay with this. What this means to me, because like I'm a fan of. I like some majors having just one course. I think that's cool. I mean, golf only has one like that, but I'm also a fan of the small rotation. So if Champions Cup is going to be at WR every year, I think that's fine. But I think that means I want to see at least, because we know US isn't going to rotate. at
No,
least for
World
now.
should be the rotating major. Worlds makes
But
sense.
I think European should as well. I don't think we should have three
Meh,
majors that
maybe.
are all at the same course. I think they should have small rotations of like 3 to 4 courses. There's so many. My thing with the European Open is that course is obviously incredible. But there is so many good courses in Europe that we never get to see. So I think that it would be silly not to showcase them in that major. That's my opinion on that. And I don't think that we should have 3 out of the 4 majors at the same course every year, because that sets the sport up for failure when those courses become unavailable for whatever reason. We can't just bank on them being around for 50 years. So that's
yeah. I mean, I know USDGC is obviously moving here in the next few years. There's no way around it.
That's what I'm saying. I think that European Open would be a cool rotating major because there is just so many cool courses in Europe.
I think that's fine. I mean, USDGC, I think, is kind of which Champions Cup, I guess now could be. It's literally in Augusta, but our Masters.
Yeah.
The Champions Cup I like because we know the course is always going to be challenging. We know the staff there can run a great event. And the only thing they have to figure out is logistics of more and more spectators there.
Yeah.
But now they have years and years to work on that and figure it out. So I think that they're going to be able to accomplish that. And the great thing about the Champions Cup is what gives it a different feel is the qualification process where you have to, I forget all the qualification, but one of the big things is win, and it allows like some AMs into the event and stuff like that. I think that's what really separates the Champions Cup. So I really like it. And I think WR Jackson is good because also there's no Pro Tour event at WR Jackson, so we don't have to worry about going to a course twice in 1 year like we did with D-Glow and Toboggan or other courses that might have been considered.
Yeah, I do like that it'll be the only time we go to WR, which is cool. I agree with you. You mentioned like now they have years and years to get it ready. What I would like to see now is, so we have a course on a PDGA, like not technically their property, but like, you know, their headquarters are there.
Essentially.
They know that course is going to be around. You know, it's not a temp course, it's permanent, and they know the major is going to be there. I want to see them elevate that course to just a different standard of like tidiness and maintenance. Like that's what I want to see at WR Jackson, because now they know that they can put the work in and it's going to be worth it for years to come. I want to see them like put that course in crazy good shape. But it's a great course, so I'm happy with that.
And Worlds, as far as Worlds rotating, my personal opinion is like right now it's still like an open bidding process, and wherever gets bids, whatever. Like some years I think it's literally just if a place bids for Worlds and has a decent course, that's it. Like there is no other option. I would like to see them just establish like a West Coast, Midwest, East Coast rotation.
That'd be cool.
And maybe you have 2 courses in each location, so every 3 years it's gonna be close to a different demographic of players.
Yeah.
And then we go West Coast, Midwest, East Coast, and eventually, as the sport grows, possibly go overseas. But I don't think the sport's there yet. No. Because like European Open, big major, you couldn't even get the current best player in the world, Chris Dickerson, out there.
Right.
So like, it's a tough look when the field can't travel.
Yeah.
And you're asking a smaller percentage of the field to come from Finland and Europe over to the U.S., and you are asking the U.S. field to go over to Europe.
Yeah.
A possible idea is like a Canada or Mexico World Championship is possible. There's not
there
a
was
huge
one in Canada way
player
back
demographic
in the 80s.
But there's not a huge player demographic, but that travel is a lot more doable for players.
Yeah.
So it still gives you the international taste, but
I like that the majors are starting to take shape. I don't think we've heard more about the European Open, but I hope that they keep it. I hope they do it every year.
That's the only thing with the European Open is like it's gonna suck if like next year we only have 3 majors, and the year after that we're back to 4.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I want to see the majors finally settle in. The Champions Cup I think has a great start. The qualification process is cool. And I think that playing at WR is a good choice. That's a great course. So I think that there's a great start going on with the way the majors are going. So if they can just do Europe every year, which they should be able to do, I don't know why they wouldn't. Then I think we're actually kind of getting to a good spot. Worlds is the only one that's a little bit like doesn't quite have an identity other than the title. But
yeah, it is 5 rounds every year. I mean, even. I got to own up to this. I for some reason, was under the impression that Greg Barsby won through 4 rounds.
Yeah, we did. We talked about this the other week, how we were
He
idiots.
won through 5. I'm like, what the frick am I talking about? Barsby deserves that. But Worlds being 5 rounds, I think that is part of its identity. Like it's harder to win because there is an extra round. I also think that Worlds should always be at 2 courses, 1 open and 1 more technical and wooded, so that it truly challenges. I think that should be World's identity, is like it truly challenges every aspect of a player's game.
Yeah, I like that.
I think it should rotate so that it constantly has like I said, 6 courses or so. It rotates between demographics. It's 5 rounds across 2 very hard courses, and you have the 4 rounds, then a cut in the finals. And I think that works out.
It is funny how disc golf has like literally mirrored golf so closely now, because literally you have our U.S. Open, which is the hardest, most technical, frustrating course on the planet. That's the same way they treat the U.S. Open in golf. You have the Champions Cup, which, like the Masters, will probably stay at that course forever and is literally in Augusta practically. So, like, you have that. You have the European Major, which, like, the only thing about that is you have the European weather, but it's a little different the time of year that the disc golfers play over there, and it's not in the UK like it is with golf. But you have a European Major, and then you have Worlds, which is like the PGA Championship, which kind of is trying to find its identity. So it's very funny how, like, it is now with the Champions Cup being practically in Augusta. It's quite funny how it's like mirrored it.
It's like the week after.
Yeah, it's honestly pretty great. I mean, I love it though because it definitely, like, WR Jackson. That's what I was saying. Like, if they need to make that course like mystical to play. Like, they need to take that course to the next level with the way they treat it, and just make it our Augusta National, and then that will take that major to the next level. Because, like, when the players are going there, and you feel like it is like this, getaway. So it has like the perfect location. It has that feel of like you drive through the park and it's just tucked back there. So I think they have the tools there. I just really want to see them just put another level of, like, I mean, the T signs there, for example, like, they're just these little wooden signs, like, like, just do the little things and then, really take care of the grounds. And that would be cool for that course.
Yeah. Well, WR, I mean, the good thing too is it already has history.
Yeah.
Like, there's already champions crowned on that course and stuff like that, going way back. The Hall of Fame's there. So, like, the grounds there already is so rich in disc golf history that it just makes so much sense for a major to be there every year. And this is the second time with this tournament that the PDGA has listened to the players and fans. So props to them because they changed the format and now they've changed the location. And they've both been changes for the better. So props to the PDGA for both those changes. The other thing from the PDGA that came out is Nico Castro's suspension's been announced. This is from Ulti World, posted on August 9th. Nico Castro has been suspended for 9 months by the PDGA's disciplinary committee for a Class A infraction following an altercation with the rules marshal at the 2022 European Open.
I'm interested to hear your opinion on this, Hunter.
Well, it's been met with mostly, like, open arms, like, yeah, that makes sense, but somewhat mixed reactions from the disc golf world. Ulti World actually put out an opinion piece titled "Why Nico Castro's Suspension is Unjust and Far Too Long."
I read it, and
their biggest argument.
It changed my opinion.
It changed your opinion.
Yeah.
Fascinating, because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, their biggest argument was mainly due to loss of income and then comparisons to other sports, right?
Kind of.
In it, he literally said in it, like, if I did that at a C tier, it would make sense. But
yes, that was a big part of his argument, was the overarching idea that this suspension applies to people that are playing at their local parks and people that are making their living from the sport. That was his big argument. He then also took the amount of money that he was losing in income and compared it to actions.
About $80,000 is what he estimated.
Right. I think he had 86.5 was his final number. And he compared that to, okay, what would I have to do in other sports to get a fine of that size, basically. So
that idea doesn't really work, because, like, if you suspend Paul for 9 months, it doesn't affect his income because he has $1 million a year thing. No, if you suspend Lance Brown for 9 months, he might only lose, like, whatever his PDGA income is. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you can't use the number because he wasn't fined. So you can't treat it as a fine.
Well, but you can treat it as a complete loss of income, though. You can treat it as a player. It's there. Okay, so you can treat it
but
as.
But you can't use the numbers, what I'm saying, because the number is so relative.
Well, regardless of the number, you can say that the way those rules were made, when they were made, and whatever, it applies to players who are playing casually in their tournaments, whatever. But then you can't use the same set of rules, I don't think, for a player who is doing it for their living. I think that there needs to be a unique, because, like, I
disagree with that statement.
Really, you think that what Nico did deserves, like, what at the end of the day, what he did, he deserves to lose a year's worth practically of his income for that. I
didn't say that. I said I disagree that they should be treated differently. I think that what you do at a B tier, C tier, and what the pros do, like that, I think it makes sense that the suspension's the same.
But I think the punishment should be. I think. Well, really, what I really think is it should probably be a fine structure.
The line as a pro, because I'm technically a pro in the PDGA.
Okay,
so
well then,
my suspension.
Well then they should make them. Maybe then they should make them all less harsh then, because here's the problem. The problem is when you're punishing a player who is an amateur or a local pro or whatever who's not depending on it for a living, you're punishing them because he said this in the Ulti-Word article, the only thing that you can use against that player to punish them is to take away you being able to play competitively, because you can't really say, oh, I'm going to impact your income. That's going to be the harsh punishment.
Well, that's not the goal of the PDGA. It's not to impact his income. Because if Clash Disc would have kept him on in Gateway,
right,
then the estimate, Gateway did keep him on, then the estimate wouldn't change, because 25% is the income.
But it doesn't change that that's what happened, and that points to the fact that there probably needs to be a change.
That's not the PDGA's fault. That's not the PDGA's fault.
What do you mean it's not the PDGA's fault?
The PDGA didn't say, hey, Clash Disc, you got to drop him.
No, not that.
Clash Disc dropped him before the PDGA even said his suspension. His suspension could have been for 2 weeks, and Clash Disc would have still dropped him, which would have still affected his income for the rest of the year.
He's still going to lose a ton of money just not playing at PDGA sanctioned events.
$20,000 is estimated.
That's a lot of money for what he did in disc golf.
A lot less than 86 though.
Yes, but
so you can't use the 86.
I don't think if I watched Nico get up in his face like that, and you said, "Yeah, we're gonna slap him with a $20,000 fine."
That's also not the whole thing, though. That's not the whole thing. More happened after the camera was off.
Regardless of what he did, $20,000. No way that's just. No way.
That's not a fine. You're looking at it as a fine. It's not a fine.
Yes, but I'm saying that the way that the PDGA suspension, the way that it applies to pro players, it's going to be a fine almost for every time, because there's earnings earned by players at PDGA sanctioned event. Anytime you suspend that player, it's going to be treated as a fine. It like every single time, no matter who you suspend, they are going to lose.
Be treated as a fine.
In there, the way it's going to impact them.
You're also assuming that Nico's going to cash at all the events over the next 9 months. What if he didn't?
Well, he
didn't get fined at all then.
He's gonna, first of all, and second of all, you can't.
I'm just saying that's why you can't treat it as a fine, because you don't know what he lost. He could have lost $2,000, but you can't treat it as a fine.
He's losing the opportunity to make money, so it is. So then it is a fine. So
but
I'm just saying
the $80,000 number that it came from, that's sponsors, and sponsors dropped him before the suspension was made public at all.
All I'm saying is the PDGA rules. The PDGA did nothing wrong in the sense that they acted by their guidelines. So in that sense, I don't have a problem with what the PDGA did. I'm fine with the suspension they gave him because they went to their guidelines, they took what was written, and they applied it correctly. I agree with that wholeheartedly. That is fine. What I'm saying is I think it needs to be revisited, because I think that 9 months is pretty rough. I think it's pretty rough. That's.
Well, we also have to remember that I agree that it can be relooked at. The PDGA though, within their guidelines, like they could have went 24 months, so they were very light.
And like I said, what the way they applied their rules is fine, and I think that they're not catching very much slack because they have it written in. Like what Nico did is literally in their textbooks, in their rule books, and then their suspension length is also in those rule books. So what they did at the end of the day, I have no problem with, and I also. Like Nico knows that's in the rule books, right? So like,
Nico, that's what I'm saying. We can't put the blame on the PDGA.
No, I'm not blaming them. All I'm saying is because this is the first time. This is a kind of an unprecedented situation. I think it's time to look at the structures.
I mean, it happened with Bradley Williams again, and they did look at it and restructured it.
It happened with him. What?
It happened with Bradley Williams a few years back.
Yeah, but
this is the restructured rules.
Right. And I think it was different with Bradley Williams because he wasn't making nearly as much money off the tour as Nico is.
But that's what I'm saying. You can't look at this isn't a fine. You can't look at the money.
It's a player losing a chance to make money though for 9 months.
But the 9-month suspension goes over the off season. So how do you factor loss of income there?
Okay. For a certain amount of time.
You can't look at money. You can't look at money.
I said what I said. Okay, I think they need to revisit it. I can look at money because
I'm fine with them
the player is going to lose money. The player is going to lose money 99% of the time, so I can look at the money. That's what I'm saying.
But he's not fined. If the PGA
no,
was fining
he's not.
him
He's not
and it was the
fined.
same-
He is suspended, in which case he will lose chance to make money for a long time.
Sure.
So that is
Sure,
So,
but I'm saying
so
the
I
rules
can
aren't
look,
based on the money.
So I can look at the money, not a certain dollar amount. I agree. You
Are
can't.
are you just as upset if it's someone who never cashes at pro tour events but plays them all?
What do you mean? My just as upset? I don't
think it's just
I don't
as-
think. I don't
you
think
think
it.
it's just
I
as
don't think it would have
outlandish?
gotten my attention as much. But that doesn't change the fact that I think the rules need revisited. I think that it took a specific example with a player that makes a good amount of money playing disc golf to make me realize that they should probably revisit the rules. So yeah,
I personally, I think that the tour card should be the separator. I think that the Pro Tour should have these rules and not the PDGA, and I think it should be a fine. So
Yeah,
it's the same across the board.
I think
that's where I think it should be.
Right. I think I think it does come down to
PGA
that.
thing, it's got to be this. Because also, if this happened at a local tournament, I want that guy suspended for 9 months. And there's no way to define the line. There's no way to draw a line between a touring pro and
Right.
a local player right now
Right.
within
Well,
the PDGA.
well,
So I don't think it can be changed.
Right. When I say revisit, what I'm meaning by that is, yes, what you're saying. Like, I think that there needs to be, and we've said this a lot, but there needs to be a difference between the touring pro and how they're treated and what's expected of them, and the punishments for them versus the local pro. So that I agree with that, because like I would rather see a fine structure. I think suspensions are a unique thing that should be for more like very severe incidents, where it's like, yeah, that guy just needs to be away from the tour. And maybe Nikko did need a small suspension of some sort, but I would rather see fines, I think. And I think fines would get
I think
more attention.
Fines are where it needs to be. The tough part is you're still on a line of like a player like Nikko could have afforded a fine. A player, pick a random player who's not cashing might not have been able to afford a fine. And so now by putting that fine and being like, hey, you can't play a PDJ event until you come up with whatever the fine is, because the fine needs to be substantial enough that it's not like when Mark Cuban was fined $15,000 for saying the F word and he just drops the F word again because he's like, that's funny. Who cares? It can't just be like a little, that's inconsequential, $20. Yeah,
well,
what the frick? I'm doing that again next week. But it also can't be so much that it's like Nikko gets a bill for $7,000 and is like, I can't pay that. And now it's not a suspension. It's I'm never be able to play disc golf again.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that does happen in every sport because it is relative. Like when LeBron James gets a fine versus a rookie who is just like just on a rookie minimum contract, like you have the exact same scale, just at more money. So
you just have to figure it out.
There's
because,
no perfect system for
this.
this.
Well, yeah, I just think the scale in NBA, if you fine $10,000, everyone in the NBA can at least afford it, and it's a big enough number that, like, yeah, LeBron doesn't give two rips about it, but enough players are affected by it. That number in disc golf, though, might legitimately be like $100. And like, what's $100 fine?
I think it'd be like $500. I think a $500 fine is enough to get.
That might be, yeah, but it's a weird line. But where the PDGA is now, like, they had to take action. They had to do something, and within their rules, they gave him a light sentencing.
Yeah,
so, to me,
at the end,
9 months makes sense. And the way the timing wise, like, majority of it is in the off season, so he's really not really missing that much.
No, when it came out, I was not upset at all, and I'm still at the end of the day, I'm not like I said, the PDGA acted completely within their guidelines, so I don't think that anybody can be upset at the PDGA because Nikko knew the rules, he knew the punishment chances, and he still did it. So
we have to remember we didn't see the whole situation because there was more that happened off camera that's been verified by several people. And when the PDGA came to him, he refused to cooperate with them after. So it's beyond just the one thing.
He did get what was coming to him. All I'm saying is I think it's just another, straw to where we need to start differentiating the rules for touring professionals versus non-touring professionals.
Well, yeah, and it all starts with you need to define the line with the tour card.
Right.
You need to define the line who's a touring professional.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Yeah. No, that's
also came out against the suspension. He posted on his Instagram 9 months for a first-time offender ? Which means that's a questionable start there.
Yeah, that's a very dumb statement.
I mean, literally compilations of him doing this.
Yeah, I get where he's technically a first-time offender, but at the same time, he's not.
Yeah.
Paul said, I understand the situation could have been handled differently, but to claim intimidation as an offense seems off to me. The official doesn't step back like someone who's intimidated. He also stares the player down instead of trying to defuse the situation.
That's the worst.
Professional officials should know that players' stress levels are elevated when competing in all sports. So why instigate the issue? I hope Nikko appeals the situation. From what I saw, it's a Class C at most at PDGA.
That's so treat all professional athletes as babies.
Yeah.
Two things. One, we didn't see everything. So, A. B, I felt that the official handled it very well, personally.
The official didn't escalate
He didn't
anything.
do anything to escalate.
And
he also wasn't staring him down, like puffing his chest.
Yeah.
He was walking away still looking at Nico, probably thinking, what the frick just happened?
Puzzled. And number 3, just because somebody doesn't get intimidated doesn't mean you aren't trying to intimidate them. Mm-hmm. It doesn't say in the PDGA rules, intimidation, but they have to actually be intimidated.
I'm impressed with how well he handled
that
himself.
Just cracks me up. Like, did you watch? Like, it's like, did you watch what he just did? Like, it was like a joke.
Well, imagine if he did that to a player. Yeah. Like, imagine if he did that to another player on the card.
It was such a joke. Like, trying to defend that is just like, it's silly.
What happened off camera, Hunter? What was the more... Like
all they said is that he wouldn't comply, basically. Like, he wouldn't discuss it.
Allegedly, I've heard that his caddy had to kind of pull him away from the official.
Dang.
As it continued to escalate.
Oh. Well, then
he just got more. He just got a little more aggressive.
I think he got more heated. And then after the round, the PDGA came to him before he was DQ'd from the event, wanting like a more explanation what's going on, and he wouldn't talk to them. He wouldn't cooperate.
Yeah.
So when you pull it all together, like, there's a lot more to the story than the 20-second clip we saw of him going, why, and then walking over to the guy. When the camera cuts, it's not like the camera cut and he's like, oh, the camera's off? All right, sick. All right, I'm back to normal. Like, there's more to it.
Yeah.
But this sparked a Brody tweet where he said, just saw the screenshot, gotta say, it's a pretty bad take, Paul. Fair. I mean, that's a fair tweet, but given Brody and Paul's history, it obviously led to some fans pointing out Brody coming after Paul and saying they thought Brody was going to leave Discraft. And then Paul, you got to give some points to Paul here. He did kind of dunk on Brody when he said, he has me blocked, but I hope he stays, talking about Discraft. I like the fact that he has to throw disc with my name on it.
That
made me laugh.
That's pretty good.
That got me
right there.
You know what's funny, though, is when I thought about it, I actually don't think that Brody has a single disc with Paul's name on it in his bag.
He definitely doesn't anymore.
No, I don't think he ever did. Because he never threw PM line, and all of his buzzes have the Dark Horse stamp on it.
Yeah, but it's
tooled. It's tooled though.
Mold.
Yeah, it's tooled on the inside.
The buzz isn't.
Oh,
is
yeah.
It? The buzz isn't.
No, so technically,
because he doesn't throw PM line.
No, so technically he doesn't have anything with Paul's name on it in his bag.
Still very funny.
But very funny tweet though.
Yeah, it's still a very funny tweet because like the zone is technically a Paul line. It's just Brody throws get freakies, so it just has a different stamp. And the buzz is a Paul line. Brody just throws Brody stamped ones. Now, I don't know if Brody throws the Avenger SS anymore, but similar thing there. So like, and the Force, Brody throws the heck out of the Force. So you get the gist. But this obviously led to the whole disc golf world, speculating on the Brody and Paul beef. And from what I understand, Brody's planning on explaining it on debate night tomorrow night. But be prepared to be underwhelmed, if I'm being completely honest, because it's really not that big of a deal. Brody actually tweeted and said he apologized for getting caught up in high school drama, which I think is the perfect way to kind of describe it all. But every time something like this happens, I think people just think it's some huge thing that's going to shake up the disc golf world and make everyone hate one person or hate the other. But reality is like things happen between friends and people don't always stay friends. And most of the time, the reason behind that just isn't that interesting. But people also seem to not believe me or us when I talk about the Paul leaving Foundation post. Like, that was truthful, but it was.
People are getting mean at me, man. I'm like posting my show on YouTube and everybody's commenting like, stop avoiding it. You know what we want.
Yeah. I'm
not avoiding anything. I have a show.
Put it this way. Paul literally was in the office last week showing us the Athena, which I mean, I don't know how much I'm supposed to know about that disc, but it's going to be pretty sick. It's probably going in my bag if I'm being honest. And showing off his like 18-hole golf scorecard at Colonial Hills.
What did he
shot
shoot?
Like a 80. I think he's in the 80s.
He was in 84, wasn't it?
Okay, as long
he's
as
somewhere in there. Yeah, and he hadn't
touched
touched clubs in a while. So yeah. But anyways, and like I said, I'm gonna let Brody address what happened between him and Paul. But I think the situation, I think it'll make sense. But don't expect to like watch debate night and then walk away like raising pitchforks, hating Brody or hating Paul, and having to choose which one to root for on tour. I mean, I'm in the midst of everything going on, and I still root for both of them on tour. So like, if I can, you can. It's not that big of a deal when it's all said and done. And it's just not as big of a deal as the disc golf world wants it to be. But I get where people, always. The whole reason Brody's even going to address it is because so many people are like trying to start rumors of like, and what really gets messy. This happened, with other stuff with Foundation previously, is people start bringing the wives into it and like obviously that like Kelsey and Hannah had
So
nothing
annoying.
to do with it. And you have to like, that's when you have to nip it in the bud, because it's like you don't want people to smear either of their names or Brody or Paul's name in relation to their wives, when it's like, no, I can literally shut everyone up in like two seconds. It's not a big deal, but
isn't it
people
funny
want it
how
to be.
it's funny how everybody like comes after us for being the TMZ of disc golf when we don't even do that, but then all they want from us is to be the TMZ of disc golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
make up your
Well, that's
mind,
like
people.
Someone called us like this whole situation. I would be licking my chops if I was TMZ, because
Very
like,
TMZ.
I mean, there's rumors swirling. I mean, I
Yeah.
could sit here and just like rattle off a bunch of rumors, and the same thing happens with other players. Like there's plenty of stuff I hear off the course that we could bring in, but the difference is, and where people got the TMZ thing, right, was my whole Ricky contract leak. That's not TMZ.
No,
That's just sports
that
media.
was sports journalism right there.
Yeah, TMZ would be if I was talking about what. Just give me a random player, so I don't throw someone's name in the hat.
Eric Oakley, because we love him.
If I was talking what Eric Oakley did, off the course, Eric Oakley was out partying until 2 a.m. Here's pictures of him leaving the club. Who's he with? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's TMZ. That's not what we do, because who the heck wants to do that? Like, no, that's very annoying high school drama. Like, I hate stuff like that. And this would be very much within TMZ, which is why I hate talking about it, because it's like, this is very childish, stupid stuff. But Brody will address it on debate night, air it out there. And like I said, don't expect to walk away like hating someone or anything like that, because it's not as big of a deal as the disc golf world wants it to be, unfortunately for the disc golf world. But I did think I got to give props to Paul, because Paul doesn't tweet very often. But when he does,
like
if he's
him.
tweeting at someone, he's got some fire one-liners.
That was good. It was a good one.
It was.
Yeah, that was a solid tweet. Brody even gave him props for it. Brody was like, "Yeah, you can't come back. Like, what do you say back to that? You can't."
It was a pretty good tweet.
The final thing as we wrap up the show, it's been a long show.
Not a lot to talk about.
Almost 2 hours.
Almost
As we
2
wrap up the
hours.
show,
Yeah.
I got early access. We all did, but I got early access to the Fierce documentary, which is now publicly available. So I sat down and watched it at the beginning of the week, and overall, I was impressed. It was better than I expected.
So let me ask
I
you.
definitely think it was the best.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think
ask away.
I was about to, because like I was actually about to watch it this weekend, and I was like, you know what? I think it'd actually be funnier if I let Hunter try and like sell it to me on the podcast. So my first question would be, this is like it has to answer this question first. Is it the best disc golf documentary ever made?
That's what I was about to say.
Production
it's the best one I've
quality-wise.
seen. I haven't watched all of them. Yes, production
Okay.
quality definitely.
Okay.
Even the storyline, the story behind it. Like there were some moments where it jumped off, and it was like that's kind of like we weren't done with this topic or whatever. It jumped all over the place a little bit, but that's being very nitpicky because it didn't really.
Okay.
It was very good about like transitions and stuff between topics to make sure you understood. The first 15 to 20 minutes were a little slow because they were kind of getting a non-disc golf audience up to speed on disc golf.
Yeah.
Which makes sense for what they wanted
Smart.
everything to be. But the rest of it was pretty solid because it gave you a behind the scenes look not only into like Paige and what was going on that season, but also the growth of FPO with Paige at the forefront of it. So they had some players like Des Redding, Valerie Jenkins, and stuff like that open up about stuff that used to happen that wasn't really fair in FPO.
Yeah.
And how Paige kind of like shattered those stereotypes, and similar to what Paul did for disc golf in general, where there's like this barrier and then one player just like breaks through it and then allows all this opportunity for other players. It was kind of showing examples of how Paige did that, about biggest one being like women not being able to move discs. And I don't want to spoil it, but hearing Val talk about some of her experiences and Des Redding with Innova and stuff, like that's what really got me going. I was like, man, this is freaking great stuff right here.
Yeah. That's cool. 'Cause that was the next thing I was going to ask you, was like, did you feel like you saw and heard a lot of things that you hadn't before? Because like if it was just going to like replay stuff that I already saw, then I didn't really care as much. But if you heard, go ahead.
It was stuff that it wasn't stuff that I personally hadn't heard before, but the generic disc golf audience, I don't think had heard a lot of stuff that was in it, and it definitely gave you a lot more behind the scenes. Like it also showed a different side of Paige, where like, you know, there was moments where she was just breaking down in her van. There was moments where she told the camera crews like, "Hey, get away from me! I don't want to be filmed right now." And like, there was a lot of emotion in it.
That's cool.
That is cool.
So I think it's worth the watch if you have access to it. But with that all being said, if I wasn't in disc golf media, if I was just a disc golf fan, I don't think I would have paid $12 to watch it.
Okay.
I would have been very happy if me and like 2 or 3 friends split it and we all paid like $3 or $4. Or if I had access to DGN, I only had to pay $6 and I split that with a friend. It just $12 when you look at the scope of what you can get media wise for $12.
Right. You can get
It's a big
a month
ask.
of Netflix for $12, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when you look at that price and you don't look at it as like what you're if you watch it and you aren't like, all right, $12, this better live up. If you just watch it, it's very, very good.
I mean, it's like a matinee movie
on
ticket.
something.
$12.
Yeah, if it was just on the Disc Golf Network and I got it with my subscription, I'd be like, this is incredible. I'm gonna be curious, A, how many people actually pay $12 or $6 to watch it, and B, how that affects people's opinions of it. Because I didn't have to pay to watch it because we got early access as media.
Good point.
So like my opinion was able to just be, I'm sitting down and just watching this. Had I paid $12, I would have had a different mindset. It's similar like the USDGC pay-per-view for me, where I think if they would have had it like $4 non-subscriber, $2 subscribers, they probably would have made a lot more money and had better numbers to take to streaming platforms, because like that's such a low barrier to entry, where it's going to be a lot easier if I'm like, hey, dude, if I pay $4, like you want to come over and watch it, we'll both pay $2 to watch this thing.
Yeah.
Then there is no expectation of like, I paid $12. Like, especially in today's economy with like, everything going on, we're in a little bit of a recession or whatever, then $12 means a lot more to people than $12 did a little while ago. So like, you're looking at $12 and it's like, this thing better be freaking good. And it puts unnecessary expectations on it that it was very good. It was better than I expected. I just think $12 is too high of a barrier to entry. Personally, I think it sets people up for disappointment. And I think it's holding back the numbers, which is what they want, of X amount of people paid to watch this. I think you're getting a lot more numbers if it was like a $4, $2 mark or something like that. And like I said, I think you're more likely to, I think you would have easily gotten 3 times people paying at $4 than $12. Because like $4 just seems like, oh shoot, especially if you need it like $3.99. I'm like, oh, that's nothing. Game time. $11.99. I'm sitting there. I'm like,
Yeah, that definitely takes
it's
a lot.
literally a whole new disc.
It's like I could pay this, or I could go like buy lunch. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's a tough one.
$12, that would get you like a tank of gas.
You could buy
a gallon of gas.
You could buy a disc for $12. You could buy a disc for $12.
No, exactly. Like,
yeah,
it's like, do I want another putter, or am I watching this documentary?
Very true.
It's a tough line, but overall, if you are someone who's like super interested in it and you're thinking like, I have Disc Golf Network, should I pay $6? Like, I think if you watch it, you're gonna like it. I think it's a good behind the scenes look into a lot of stuff. Like I said, I'm not gonna spoil a lot, but it goes into a lot of like why Paige is the way she is, like why she's so determined, and also gives a better understanding of like Paige isn't just doing this all for Paige, but like this is what Paige is doing for the FPO field. And gives a lot of perspective on that and like the growth of the sport in general through Paige's eyes. I think that's what makes the storyline where when she lost Worlds, yes, it still was like, that sucks. But it kind of drew emotion out of you to where you like, because of how long, it's like an hour, 47 minutes, the whole build up to that moment when she lost, it like made you re-feel emotions of like, oh dang, that really sucks.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
That's
like
cool.
Versus it could have just been like, oh, this whole thing was pointless. Like the storyline was much bigger than just the season leading up to Worlds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the storyline wasn't broken by Worlds, her not winning Worlds. It almost like left you like wanting more because now she's hungrier for the next year almost.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it was very solid, but like I said, $12 is just too high. That's what it comes down to.
That was a very comprehensive review right there.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
I'm interested in watching it.
Yeah, I'll probably get to watch it.
You definitely should watch it. It's definitely worth it. But there you go. That's the show. Is there a preview? Yes. Des Moines is this weekend.
Yep.
Des Moines.
We will have a preview.
Des Moines.
The question is, does Des Moines start on a?
I believe it starts on Friday.
So
I'll pull it up.
It'll be a Thursday preview then.
Is this about to be the
Des
longest grip
Moines
block
starts
in
on the
history?
19th. It's just about. But I mean, hey, dude, I was gone for. I missed one.
We had a lot to talk about.
So Thursday will be the preview show.
Thursday.
Cool.
Thursday's the preview show. And then next week I should be back in studio. I should be back.
Sick.
Heck
That's
yeah.
the plan.
Sick.
I can't wait.
Good times.
All right. That's it. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.